Alright guys, we are back again. Technical problems yesterday with the internet, so that kind of ruined things, made it a short session. Today we are going to try and bust out a little bit more of chapter 2. I do have some ideas already that I just want to go through very quickly because I think these will be very important concepts to understand. Number one is that I think so far chapter 1 ends in the wrong place at the moment. So just going to do a little bit of a cut and paste job and I'll explain why. So at the moment we've had this whole restaurant scene and you know we've got all this we've got this story about the tanuki and the rabbit, and that's all good. That's all really good. And then we end with this line here, you know, tell them to serve the fish, right? As in, you've passed the test. This 18th captain of the Yakuza says, you've passed the test. And then she says, you know, tell them to serve the fish. And we phase out into chapter 2. But the problem is, in chapter 2, we pick up the scene in, you know, more or less the same place, right? It's maybe like 2 minutes later. So really, that's not really a chapter break, in my opinion. There doesn't need to be a chapter break there. It could just be a simple, you know, 3 stars. We do want to indicate to the reader that, you know, that's sort of one scene, and then, you know, that's one point being made, and now this is another point being made. So what I'm going to do is just put 3 stars instead. I'm going to take this whole thing here and just delete. Oh, just do this. 1 second, just lost the formatting there. Let's put that down. Let's lose the indent. Okay, so we have done that. Okay, so this is how you use these, you know, 3 stars. You can do it with 1 star as well, but basically this just means we're moving on to a different scene. So in the same way a film can cut from one scene to another, you know, we can do the same thing with in a novel with these 3 stars. Even if we're staying within the same scene but just skipping out 5 minutes, then I would use, you know, 3 stars or a star or something like that, just to emphasize that fact, just to tell the reader that just, you know, keep up, right? That's all we're saying. Just keep up with what's happening. So, and the main reason that I'm doing this for this chapter is that we keep all of this stuff together. We keep this whole restaurant scene together because at the end of this whole thing that we wrote yesterday, where Kyori Matsumoto says, what I need is a rabbit, and essentially hires our guy for a job, we now understand what the plot is going to be. Okay, so chapter 2 then, a logical place to start is him doing the job, is him embarking on this job. So that's why I'm going to put all this together, and then chapter 2 will now be here. So let's go with a page break. Let's paste in that, and cool. So the question now is, what is the plot? So essentially we've said here that this 18th captain of the Yakuza, she has problems in her neighborhood. She has problems with her business. She has problems with her Yakuza business. She has enemies, and she needs someone to come in and fix these problems. Hence why she has called our protagonist, Oliver Sharp, to the scene. Right, so question is, what are these problems? So let's just sketch out our first page. And I want to say something as well, is that what's the difference between chapter 2 and chapter 1? Does anybody know in the chat? What's the main difference between chapter 2 and chapter 1? Besides that one comes first. The actual fact is that there is no difference. There is no difference, at least in terms of your writing. So, you know, chapter 1, the first rule of any chapter 1 is write a good first sentence. But you should treat every single chapter the same way. imagine it's the first chapter of the book. Okay, imagine no one's read anything beforehand and you've got to hook the reader. Because a lot of people, they read one chapter, maybe they're on the train to work, they'll read a chapter if they can, right? And then they're going to pick it up in the next chapter and they're going to go, am I going to be drawn into this or not? It's like they're picking up the book again. Yes, they have a bit more connection to the book, but still, it's got to be compelling. At no point can the book lag, okay? We're trying to get rid of all that filler, okay? So the first thing we've got to do today is essentially write another compelling first line, and we're going to stick to our guns. We're going to stick to our method of writing a compelling last line to you that's going to force the reader to turn the page. Okay, and the difference, or at least what's going to make this a lot easier in chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 is that we already have kind of an idea of what this first page what the first page of those chapters have to be. When we were writing page 1, no idea what the story was about, no idea what would be what would be the characters, what would be the protagonist, what would be the story, what would be the plot. Now we have a bit more of an idea, so that's going to help with the writing. Okay, so if that is all clear, yeah, guys, yeah, no, okay, that's clear, good. So we need a compelling first line, and we need a compelling last line. Again, just here we are sketching out the points of this page. We're only writing one page at a time. That's all we have to do. Compelling last line. Compelling last line. And then in the middle of that, we just put all of the questions that we need to have answered. Okay, it's always good to keep a track of the questions your novel has asked. So the one question we still don't know is, why is Sharp in Japan? Okay, what's he looking for? That's it. And we also have what does Kyori Matsumoto have a problem with? What is this job? What is this job? Okay. And that should probably be enough for the first page, right? It's not that long, but we just need to get there. So that's our job to do today. Okay, we need to set up this scene. We need to set up chapter 2. Set up chapter 2. Now, that's it. Okay, so let's get started with this. So what is the problem that Kyori Matsumoto has? So she's a Yakuza captain, so let's just think this through logically. The Yakuza, they are the mob, the Japanese mob, so it's probably going to be some kind of a business related problem. Probably there's money involved. From the story that she's told about the tanuki and the rabbit, clearly she's saying, I've got too many tanukis at the moment. What was that last line that she said? I have enough tanukis on my farm, Mr. Sharp. What I need is a rabbit. So she's saying, and these tanukis are these troublesome creatures who are essentially, scoundrels. Someone's name is Chestnut. Coffee Quills. What's going on, Chestnut? What are you talking about? So what does... Right, so, it's probably a business problem here. And... Oh, I saw Kyori wondered if they were an autumn baby. I don't know, is that what Kyori means? Have we got Japanese speakers there? You'll know better than me. So, right, so this has got to be some sort of a business problem here. Money involved. Someone is, double crossing or trying to double deal. I think that's a better term. Double deal the Yakuza captain. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the problem. And now our guy, Sharp, he's going to have to befriend. She's going to befriend, befriend this double dealer, and then essentially eliminate the problem. Eliminate the problem, just like that whole story we had before of the farmer and the tanuki, right? That's the tanuki and the rabbit, right? That's pretty much the idea. Okay, so let's now start filling in these blanks. So let's say instead of someone, maybe it's another Yakuza captain. Another Yakuza captain is sort of, you know, rivaling. What's a better word than rivaling? Basically, they have problems, right? You've got, maybe it's Kyori Matsumoto is the eighth captain of the Yakuza. So maybe this is the seventh captain. Seventh Yakuza captain is causing problems for Kyori, right? So she wants Sharp to help bring this seventh captain down. This seventh captain. Wow, my spelling has gone straight to hell. Okay, bring this seventh captain down. Okay, so it's kind of like a double agent, secret agent, James Bondy type thing. Essentially, our guy Sharp is working for the eighth captain of the Yakuza, and he's going to infiltrate the seventh captain's territory, and that's going to be a nice rising action. Okay, so if we're thinking long term here, he's going to start small. He's going to gain the trust of maybe some of the footmen, some of the people on the street, and then slowly he's going to climb the ranks of this organization, and he's going to help bring it down, right? So that's the sort of denouement, the climax of this story, right? It's going to be these two Yakuza captains going head to head. Sharp is in the middle of it. Something like that, potentially. That's what it looks like so far. So, okay. We still don't know about this why Sharp in Japan, but we're sort of getting an idea of who he is and what he is. He's sort of he's a fixer, right? He's a problem solver. He must have some sort of reputation behind him because, this eighth captain of the Yakuza knew who he was and has summoned him for a very specific reason. So that's going to be useful to keep in mind for the backstory. We also want to bring in that ex-wife, Sabrina. I think she's going to be a part of this. Maybe she's working for the seventh captain, and that in itself is going to cause a lot of tension, a lot of problems. We can imagine that sort of at the midpoint of the novel. Finally, our guy Sharp, he's been making progress. It looks like everything is going to go well. He's going to take down the seventh captain. He's going to do his job. And then, boom, he just runs into Sabrina and he realizes, oh my gosh, that's my ex-wife. This is going to be a lot harder than I thought. And there's going to be all this, tension. So that sounds like a story. That sounds like it has potential. It sounds like it has legs. And that's all just come out of nothing, hasn't it? Right? We've just sat here every single day and slowly but surely something comes out of the muck, which is basically what I'm trying to get across here by doing these videos, is that when you're writing a novel, you don't have to know anything at the beginning. You just have to show up at the keyboard and keep going. So, all right, what's going to be a compelling first line for this? Once we get that, we can really start running with this. So here we go, compelling first line. We know it's about the two, so something like, the first tanuki, we're going to stick with this metaphor. So the first tanuki, let's see. Just want to resize this. Okay. The screen is still clear, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. The first tanuki, something like went by the name of, and keep in mind, we want to imagine that someone is just picking up the book now, and this is chapter 1. Imagine this was chapter 1. We have to create a sentence that's going to draw someone in. So the first tanuki went by the name of, let's just say, what's a simple name in Japan? Kobayashi. All right. Let's say he was 25-year-old 25-year-old student, 25-year-old biology student. Again, just making this up. I don't know where this is going to go. Might not use this as a sentence, but it just needs to have that pop, right? 25-year-old biology student who happened to be who also happened to be the biggest drug dealer on the Tokyo University campus, something like that. Tokyo University campus. Biggest drug dealer on Tokyo University campus. Okay, now let's analyze that. What's that line doing? First Tanuki went by the name of Kobayashi, a 25-year-old biology student who also happened to be the biggest drug dealer on the Tokyo University campus. Okay, so the Yakuza are into drugs, obviously, and maybe this guy is, he's sort of rivaling that. He's becoming a problem for them. So he might be an access point into the seventh captain's what's the word, business. So it's not a great compelling first line. Would I be so enamored by that? The first Tanuki, okay, I don't know what a Tanuki is, went by the name of Kobayashi, a 25-year-old biologist who also happened to be the biggest drug dealer on Tokyo campus. Yeah, there needs to be some more pop to that, right? We kind of imply here that this story would be about drugs. It's not compelling enough, I think. So that needs a bit of work already. So let's see. Any ideas in the chat? What would be a compelling first line? Remember, we're trying to get we want some kind of infiltration story here. It's more like a James Bondy type thing, I think. It seems to be. All right. Let's take it as it is, and we'll come back and make it better. Okay. I had a taxi take me to the campus. Okay, so he has a taxi take him to the campus. That's obviously, he has to do that. He has to get there. Again, just put down what things are going to happen. Take me to the campus. He's got to meet the guy, right? So maybe the compelling last line is, him finally meeting the footman who he's going to befriend. So it's something like, why don't we go for a drink? Something like that. Right, and then we know that he's in. We know that he's made it. He's made a contact. Right, he does something on this first page, and then he's already sort of beginning to build a relationship. And we know because we savvy readers, we people who can read between the lines, we know what Sharp is doing. Right, Sharp is befriending this guy only as a means to an end, right? And the end is ultimately to infiltrate the ranks of the 7th Yakuza captain and cause problems for that organization. Okay. Right, so let's just get rid of all this fluff, and we sort of have an idea of where this page needs to go. Okay, so what's he looking for? All right, let's go with that. What is the job? So it's a business related, but money involved. 7th user captain is causing problems. Okay. The first Tanuki went by the name of Kobayashi, 25-year-old biology student who also happened to be the biggest drug dealer on the Tokyo University campus. He was small. He was small time compared to the major Yakuza operations, but no. Okay. Okay. Right. This was a major source of money for the seventh captain. Again, this all needs to be sort of shaped up, and it needs to be what's the word, like just made more interesting, right? We need to find out where this Tokyo University campus is. It should be in the district of the seventh captain. It shouldn't be in Shinjuku. So it better not be Shinjuku University. It better be some other ward of Japan within which the seventh captain of the Yakuza, where he lives and he has control over. Okay, major source of money for the seventh captain of the Yakuza. All right. So I had a taxi take me to the campus, and he's thinking in the back of the car, right? He's thinking, why the hell am I doing this? Am I doing this? I thought. But Curie had already offered me. So the whole reason he's accepted this deal with Curie is because she said, I know why you're in Japan. And basically she's saying in this whole story, the farmer was so grateful that he invited the rabbit to live with him and they became firm friends. She's promising him a reward, and that reward must be the reason why Sharp is in Japan. So she'd already offered me, what I was looking for. So what did I care about doing, sort of one final job? I don't know. I'm just sort of making this up. It sounds compelling, but it's not got any substance behind it just yet. But that's how we wrote chapter 1, and chapter 1 turned out pretty well. So let's see. I just want to make this formatting correct. Text me. But Curie already offered me what I was looking for. So what do I care about doing one final job? Okay. Maybe this goes here. Okay. Yeah, that's not so bad, not so terrible. Okay. Seventh captain is causing problems for you. Right, she wants to help bring the seventh. Right, okay. I'd have to take me to the campus. It was out in the something ward. By the way, when I don't know something, I just put KKK. I don't know why KKK, but it sort of just stands out on the page, and it's and it just helps me see that when I come back and try and edit. So again, don't want to go off and do research while I'm writing. So whatever. It was out in the KKK ward, which was about 20 minutes. Which bordered. So perhaps Shinjuku and this ward next to it, whatever the ward next to Shinjuku is, That's what we're looking at, which bordered Shinjuku, and Curie's territory, and therefore Curie's territory. Okay, that's sort of setting that up. So now we sort of get the explanation, the interior thought process of our guy. And again, we love that when a character starts telling us, how to do their job. For instance, an assassin tells us how best to scale a building in order to, to take down a target, so, quietly. We love that. So here, Sharp is going to tell us, how to befriend someone very, very quickly. And there are tons of psychology books on this, so they'll be a good resource, something I'll probably go away today and read. Okay. Tax statement campus. It was out in the KKK ward, which bordered on Shinjuku, and Curie's territory. Something like, if I got caught here, there was no calling for help, right? Curie had no jurisdiction in these parts. Okay, that's going to be that in itself is a very important type of line to have, because it implies the danger, right? He might be working for one of the captains of the Yakuza, but as soon as he goes into another territory as basically a spy, as basically a tanuki, then Kuri Matsumoto is not going to be able to help him, right? This is a dangerous thing that he's doing. We're just emphasizing that fact, and so that's why that kind of a line needs to go in here somewhere. All right, so I tax statement. It was out and bordered on Shinjuku. Curie said, if I got here, Curie had no jurisdiction in these parts. All right. What's that guy's name that we said? Kobayashi. That Kobayashi is such a powerful name, though. That's probably a better name for the 7th captain of the Yakuza, but whatever. We'll just run with it as this. So it might be better if this 25-year-old biology student is maybe the son of the 7th captain of the Yakuza. All right, maybe he's the son, and then our guy sort of helps him out of a situation, and then he's so happy, he's so grateful that he introduces him to the father. I mean, that's a bit quick, but it could be then that our guy, he gets introduced to the 7th captain of the Yakuza. The 7th captain of the Yakuza is grateful, and he says, okay, you helped my son out of this jam, I'm going to give you a job to do. And then slowly our guy is, really embedded within this organization, and he can start to take it apart as a double agent for Curie. It could be something like that. And then along the way, the ex-wife comes in. Maybe the 7th captain of the Yakuza is planning this whole big expansion into, what did we say? So our guy's from London, so maybe he's planning an expansion into London. He's planning a big deal with London, and who is on the opposite side of that deal? The ex-wife. That could be something. That maybe that's how this story goes. Okay. So that's a better first line then. The first Tanuki went by the name of Kobayashi. We need a first name there. A 25-year-old biology student who had. No, we don't need this drug dealer thing, right? Who had nothing much to say for himself other than the fact that his father just happened to be the 7th captain of the Yakuza. Okay, right now that's a better first line. Okay, it's not perfect, but isn't that better, guys? Help me out here in the chat. Is that better? I think that's better. It could be made better though. It's still got a ways to go. Okay, now we're implying what's gonna come. All right, 7th captain of the Yakuza, and now we can have here maybe a little bit of backstory. So we've cut away. We cut away from this from this scene with Curie, right? I deliberately left out all of the sort of exposition, right? That was a major thing that we talked about. Cut out all that exposition. She talked in riddles, in parables, basically the entire conversation, and then at the end, she still talking in riddles. She says, "I'm going to hire you for a job. I want you to do a job for me." And then instead of her saying exactly what that job is, and we extend the scene longer and longer and longer, and then in the next chapter, our guy goes and does all of those things. It's much better to just not say what you either do one or the other. You don't need it twice because you're just repeating yourself. So this adds energy to the thing, right? So we know he's been hired for a job, and now he's doing the job, and we're going to find out exactly what that job is as he's doing it, right? It's no good if we already know what he's going to do, because it diffuses it just makes it a bit more boring, I think. Who was it? Right, 7th captain of the Yakuza. Okay. Matsumoto had been losing just losing money for the past year, and needed to plug the hole, something like that. Okay, so that's why she's hired. Okay, so we kind of get it. Okay, that's right. It was out in the KK Code Ward, which bordered Shinjuku and Kyori's territory. If I got caught here, there was no calling for help. Kyori had no jurisdiction in these parts. Kobayashi, by all accounts, was a low key student. Kept his head down. He's basically an easy mark, is what I'm trying to say here, right? And our guy Sharp, he's going to take advantage of this kid, this poor kid, basically, who just, it's not his fault. His dad is a major criminal. So Kobayashi, by all accounts, was a low-key student, kept his head down, and got, whatever, top grades. I don't know, something like that. Not top grades. All right. Something like that. Maybe he finds him at the library. Found him at the library. Sitting alone. Maybe this kid is basically a loner because people know that he's connected to the Japanese mob, and therefore it's very hard for him to make friends. Everyone's afraid of him. It's got to be pretty tough if you are if you're the son of a massive criminal. People fear you because that's just the nature of things, right? Kept his head down, and got top grade, right? I found him in the library sitting alone. Sitting alone. The question, yeah, there's something here about he gets top grades, but maybe that's only because the teachers are afraid of giving him a lower grade, lest his father come down and slaughter them. So Kobayashi was but all low-key student, kept his head down and got top grades. Found him at the library sitting alone. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just write some stuff. Let's just write some crap, and make it better as we go. Any idea where I can find? He needs to ask him a biology question or something. Something that's just gonna hook this kid's interest. Any idea where I can find a book on whatever, like osmosis. Okay. Oh, okay, so we need to describe the kid, right? The kid, what does he look like? The kid was skinny, with a pale complexion, watery eyes. Right, he's a bit of a snivelly. Maybe his relationship with his father isn't so good either. Right, he's a bit of a weak kid. He's sort of a bit of an outcast. And yet, you know, the father can't really do anything about that. He's his son. He's heir to the throne. Kid was skinny with a pale complexion and watery eyes. They pointed to the section of books. No, I think section was better, right? Section of books. Behind him. I nodded and brought another book back to the same table. Okay, so this sharp character, if he's I think we need to make this 25-year-old student maybe like a PhD student or something. Because how old is our guy? Our guy Sharp, he's like 32. So he can probably pass for a like a 28-year-old. I don't see a problem with that. And he needs to find common ground with this student. So let's say this guy is a 27-year-old biology student who had nothing much to say other than the fact that he was doing a PhD. And his father just happened to be the 7th captain of the accuser. So, something like that. What's wrong with that? How do you spell PhD? What is it? PhD like that? Yeah. Fudd, like Elmer Fudd. All right. Okay. I nodded the bullet book back to the save table and started reading like I hated every damn word. Right, and then he's going to pass himself off as like a transfer student, right? Transfer student from London, you know, also doing a PhD. Maybe they have the same, examiner. Who are the people that that PhD students sort of they have to do their presentation in front of? Has the same professors, right? Okay, whatever. I'll get the correct term later. Has the same professor, or he tells Kobayashi he has the same professor, you know, a real hard case, this professor, whoever they have, he's a real hard case. And that's a notorious, notorious hard case. So probably Sharp has done some research. Obviously, he knows this student. He knows who his teachers are, and he knows he's done his homework, right? He's like, oh, you have Mr. Shiratori for for your PhD professorship. Oh, okay, yeah, I've got him too. He's in, what's that guy's problem? And this and this 27-year-old biology student, he starts to open up, right? It's that kind of thing. Tells Kobayashi he has the same professor, a notorious hard case, and therefore they start to bond. And then by the end, our guy's saying, why don't we go for a... Okay, so it's instead of that, because that sounds like he's asking him out on a date. Ever been to the okay, so maybe if this okay, here's how it works. So where was that line where we said right? So this Kobayashi, the son, right? He is by all accounts a low-key student, kept his head down and got top grades, right? He's not well liked. He's a bit shunned by, the university students as a whole. So the fact that he's now being talked to by Sharp, he yearns for that. He yearns for that interaction, that social interaction. He wants people to like him. He has a lot to offer. It's just that his background in general prevents him. So our guy Sharp is really playing on this psychology, right? It's even more. It's very cruel, but our guy Sharp, he's basically being a con artist here. He's offering this kid everything that he wants, and everything that he wants is really just friendship. It's something like that, right? Now, and they have the similar interests. They're both biology students. This guy who's yearning for friendship, yearning for friends, is, suddenly he gets. It seems to be the perfect friend is now suddenly placed in front of him, and they start to bond, right? He's going to latch onto that. Okay. Maybe, something like, I made a couple of jokes about osmosis. About osmosis. And before long, we were. No, I think it has to be a little bit more subtle than that. So, and before long, well, okay, I had the guy talking. Okay, so maybe this is. Whoa, what's going on? Okay, ever been to? Maybe this is Kobayashi who says this, right? I grinned. Lead the way. Lead the way, I said. And this is, right, this is now that he's befriended this kid. And it's something like that, right? He asked me, you know, eagerly. It's, you know, he's so desperate for friendship, this kid, that Sharp is sort of like just, wow, yeah. I mean, this also tells us a lot about our protagonist. You know, he's not a likable guy. You know, we've said that before. He's got a problem with women. So it's kind of like this. Okay, we're almost there. We've got what, like 4 lines to write, and then we can start shaping up this beginning of chapter 2. So the first Tanuki went by the name of Kobayashi. We still need a first name for him. What's a Bunpei? Okay, so there's a has anybody ever watched Ninja Warrior in the chat? You guys know what I'm talking about, Ninja Warrior, the obstacle course. Yeah, that's where I get most of my Japanese names from. I love that show. Okay, so there was a guy called Bunpei Shiratori. I'm just going to change it to Bunpei Kobayashi. Bunpei Kobayashi, a 27-year-old biology student who had nothing much to say for himself other than the fact, other than the fact that, that's quite hard to say. That needs to be edited. 27-year-old biology student who had nothing much to say for himself other than he was doing a PhD other than he was doing a PhD, and his father just happened to be the 7th captain of the Yakuza. It's something like that. It doesn't quite read right. 7th captain of the Yakuza. Okay, so the university. The university. Yeah, it's this line, right? The university is located in this ward, which bordered Shinjuku. Whoa! Was located in the KKK ward, which bordered Shinjuku, and Kyoto. and Kyory's, which bordered Shinjuku and was therefore bordered Kyory's territory. Okay. Alright, I think that bit goes up here. Early the next morning, we're just setting the time. Okay, it's early the next morning. Something like that. Next morning. Okay, we need to explain exactly what the problem is. You know, that's this line. You know, you're losing money for the past. Yeah, she needed to plug the hole. Okay. Kobayashi, by all accounts, was a low-key student. Right. Bunpei. No, it reads better like that. Was by all accounts a low-key student. There goes my... Always got to keep things plugged in. Okay. What are we at here? 55 minutes? Not bad. Basically got the page down. Bunpei Kobayashi was by all accounts a low-key student. Good-natured. Good-natured. A low-key student. Good-natured. Was a low-key student, good-natured, and got top grades. I found her at the library sitting alone, which wasn't surprising, given who his father. Given his family, what pedigree? Is that right? Given his family's pedigree. Let's see. Right. This needs to be like a very specific book, right? This needs to be something that only PhD students would even, PhD biology students would even know. Okay. Kid was skinny, with a pale complexion and watery eyes. He looked up at me. As if, he couldn't believe someone was actually, talking to him. Something like that. Again, I'm just building the fact, but I want to build the point here that this kid is a loner, and he's alone, and he wants connection. He wants human connection. So, any idea where I can find a book on I can find. The person with water reality, he looked up at me and he couldn't believe someone was actually talking to him. He pointed to the section of books behind him. Whispering. To, you know... no, I'm not going to put that in. Right, okay. Okay, we don't need that bit. It's just it's just useless. I brought the book back to the same table. I brought the book back to the table. And started reading. Like I hated every damn word. Alright. And then he's going to say the name of that professor. Bloody, Okay, we need another Japanese name. So maybe let's use that Shiratori. Mumbled or grumbled? Okay. So okay, if our guy's going to talk, and this what's his name? Kobayashi, this kid, he's not used to talking, then, you know, our guy's, the conversation is going to be a bit, it's going to be very one-sided. Okay, so we can just say that outright. The kid was obviously starved for friendship. Yeah, okay, and so there's a joke in here, and after I made a couple of quips about osmosis, I had him talking. Despite what Sabrina thought, I can be quite charming when I want to be. That's the ex-wife, remember, Sabrina, right? And it seems like she is on our guy's mind constantly, right? So there's obviously a really good story to be uncovered, you know, what went on between them. And it's important that I keep recalling the ex-wife to the reader, because later on, if we're going to reveal this ex-wife as part of the plot, as an integral part of the plot, then she can't come out of left field, right? She needs to have been constantly in the story throughout, and then the reader goes, oh wow, right? It's more believable, it's more acceptable when you do that. So, bloody Shiratori, I grumbled, and immediately got the kid's attention. Okay, but can he really say, kid? Remember, our guy is 32, and this kid is, you know, 27. So, yeah, you can't really say kid. It's not right. Already got We got Kobayashi. Got Kobayashi's attention. Kobayashi? Yeah, Kobayashi's attention. So this part of the conversation can go two ways. There's two ways of doing a conversation. Either you can actually line by line say, he said this, he said that, etc. Or you can just say, you can do it in prose. So what I mean is, you can do this. I told him I was a transfer student from London. Also doing a PhD. Also doing a PhD. Also doing a PhD because my dad needed me. So I transfer student from London. Also doing a PhD because my okay, but you know, again, this Kobayashi, he has a sort of strained relationship with his father, so obviously Sharp is gonna mirror that and say, yeah, the only reason I'm out here is because, you know, my dad moved here for business, right? So he's gonna say that. You're doing a PhD. I told him I was a transfer student. No thanks. Had to be here for work. Whatever, something like that. Yeah, okay, you see it's starting to come together. Maybe it's no, I said. Okay, so it's something like that. That's the start of chapter 2. Okay, and this last line is that it's the subtext there is, and I've hooked him, and you are now on the hook, and I'm a con artist. I've won you. I've won your confidence. That's what that is. Okay, that's good enough for today. Just over an hour, which really is what it should be. An hour a page. That needs to now percolate, and that needs to then be built on tomorrow. So obviously they're going to go to ever been to the some like bar or something like that. Some kind of university hangout spot, and something is going to happen there that is going to put this Kobayashi kid, in a bit of a hard spot. Our guy Sharp is going to step in as his friend and help him, and then again the trust is going to keep building. Maybe over the course of a few days, this plays out, and then eventually, so yeah, probably the next page is just a week's worth of a very heavy bit of prose explaining that over the next week or two, our guy Sharp really just cons his way into Kobayashi's life, to the point that he gets invited back to the house, back to the Kobayashi house, for a dinner, for something like that. At which point he meets the 7th captain of the Yakuza, and he's this plot really starts to take shape, right? He's now a double agent. It's something like that, I think. We'll see. That's where this is at the moment. But okay, thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Again, any comments, ideas, helpful hints are always welcome. So please do keep them coming. Right. So I'm thinking I might change around some of the times for for streaming, just because some people have said it might be better if you maybe stream a little bit earlier, a little bit later, so we can actually tune in live. Let me know what you guys think on that a little bit more, and I'll try and find a time that works for everyone. But otherwise, yeah, tune in tomorrow, same time, same place, where I continue to write before your eyes.